Babble with Ben.
This podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation. I wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners. I would also like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be participating today. Welcome to the Babble, Isaac.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm hungover AF, bro.
Yep.
How about yourself?
I 100% feel you on that one.
How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice chill morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Got some extensions on my homeworks. So
the relief, hey?
I'm feeling good, yeah. I got a couple more days to feel good before I can start stressing again.
Yeah. The temporary reprieve, hey? What sort of assessments have you got at the moment?
I don't know. I got to record some live drums and stylize it in a genre. I want to do like some old school shit. Like I want to do some weird mics and some front, side, back, and no kick, snare, toms or anything. I just want it to be this lo-fi. I'm going to cut all the highs and the lows out. Make something cool out of it. I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's this weekend.
Because sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
Because I was going to say, for the people at home, you're starting production here at Box Hill, aren't you?
Yeah.
What? How long have you been doing it for now?
Production?
Yeah.
Well, I started writing, which is where I first started delving into music, was just writing lyrics in year 11 or 12 at high school, 2017, 2018. And then it kind of followed suite after that. It was like, how do I learn to record myself? How do I learn to edit my vocals? Now I want to make my own beats because I'm spending too much money on beats. And then so probably since 2018, 2019, I've been writing music.
Oh, wow. So you're really getting into it now. Like that's got to be the best part of 4 years, yeah?
Yeah, I know. It's scary, actually. Because, I still feel like I'm just starting, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I've got a good grasp on things now. It's taken 4 years, but it's like, I feel like I'm moving from like beginner, producer, rapper, artist to like, I'm in my middle stages of healthy life, of cocoonship.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to say, yeah.
There's a famous diagram of people's progression in a particular discipline, right? And you always sort of start up on the top and you're like, yeah, man, I know everything about this. When you're at the start, it's like, oh, yeah, I know that I've got to use this and that and this. And then as you get along, you're just like, oh, wait a second, I realised that I know nothing about this. Yeah. And then you just sink to the bottom and you go, oh, God, is this for me?
It's the ego check.
It is, yeah,
if
totally.
you can push past that.
Then you go up again and it's like, oh, wow, actually, no, I know which compression settings to use on this or I know, which mic or all that sort of stuff.
And it's been lots of things for me in my time. I've I spent years developing games and learning how to code and write and use game engines and whatnot.
Wow.
That was heaps of fun. Loved it as a kid from like 10 to 14, that's what I did. And then video production and editing, and I would go out and shoot music videos with my cousin and we would just learn how to edit and create in After Effects and all that shit, and like I've still retained all of that knowledge, but I never broke past that point where I was like, oh, okay, I'm dead in the water here if I don't like study my ass off for this shit. And I think at a certain point, each hobby that I'd picked up, I just kind of lost interest in a little bit more and more as time went on. But with music, I just don't feel like it's the same, It's like I found my creative outlet now and I'm real happy with it.
It's a bit of a black hole for myself because, like I will go and wander into like, like video production, like part of this, of course, is video production, and then special effects with After Effects, and then, even weird tangents, like during lockdown, I went out and bought a whole lot of woodworking tools, right? And I was making acoustic panels and all sorts of wooden stuff, right? Yeah. But then it's kind of like, all right, well, there's that guitar, it's gathering dust, you better go and, sit down with it and do a couple of scales. And as much as I try to escape,
yeah, sure.
the love of music keeps on pulling me back, and it sounds like you're the same too.
Yeah,
hey?
Absolutely, always. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like for the first few two and a half years that I was making music, it was really me doing it by myself, for myself. I posted everything from my first song I ever made. I would post it. I would post everything I make.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Well, not everything I make. Obviously, I make a lot of music, but I was always posting stuff. And it was just for me, my mates were like, they're like, I don't like your music, but you're a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, they just like shrug it all off. Like, And it was really a battle with my ego, but it was like, no, this is something I love, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, especially like just strangers and shit, you know what I mean? I don't care what anybody thinks. I want to do this. And then I think I did the hip-hop course here in 2019.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
With Empha.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And Serene and all these amazing people, Diz. And met people like Hugo, Scrammer, and just people who could see what I was trying to do, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's not there 100%, but there's people who are seeing what I'm trying to achieve, and that was validating in a sense, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, I found my crew, I found people who like fuck with what I'm doing and understand it, and we can work together to like build on this now. It's not just my own mind festering, you know what I mean? It's like I can relieve my thoughts onto someone else, and that was definitely a big step, because it was like, I didn't miss a single day of class that year. I was there every single day, working my ass off, like trying to make this work. And you don't do that for something that you don't love. You know what I mean? Like,
it'll burn you out. Yeah. Yeah.
100%. And I've had like times where I felt burnt out from certain aspects, but there's so much to learn. There's so much to do. You know what I mean? Like I stopped writing for like a year because I felt like I wasn't not inspired. I'm always inspired to make music, but I just felt like I wasn't evolving past what I was trying, like I couldn't achieve the thing in my mind that I was trying to achieve. And I was like, I need to take a break because it's hurting me to keep failing like this, to not be achieving what I want to achieve in my head, like just. And then I started focusing on other aspects of music. I bought myself a keyboard and started learning about music theory and how to write music. Because before that, I just listened to Eminem and artists like just for years, but I never learned anything about the music, you know what I mean? And then I feel like that kind of sparked something else in me. And I never really learned as an instrument as a kid either, so it wasn't like it was natural to me, and I wasn't like I still sit here at uni and I'm like, these people are like drop chords and you know, chords and shit, and like hectic music theory where they're like, this chord should go with this, and I understand why that is. I just use my ears for the most part, you know what I mean? Like I've got a basic understanding on probably half the scales, and like I just like to write music. But because I've always just made hip-hop music anyway, I just chop samples and I find stuff that sounds appealing to my taste, and then I'm just trying to merge that into something new. And I think like it all eventually came together again where I was at the point where I was like, I need to start writing again because I'm sick of making these productions and not hearing anything over it. Like I want this to reach a point where I can release it, and I just struggle to like release instrumental music when I know that it could be something, you know. I always struggle with over polishing my music, like we were talking about earlier, because it's like I want it to just keep evolving, and I struggle to what's the term where like you think like your music is you know what I mean? Like this is what I am because
your self-worth gets tied up in it. Bad. Yeah,
I know, very bad, very awful.
Essential, but also like it's a bit like what's the word? Like going into the real deep water, right? Like it's exhilarating, but gosh, because I know, and then you know you sort of feel like a bad person if people don't react to it positively, whereas it's just one expression, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
and then it's like you get caught up in like release schedules and putting things out. Like I've had this album that I've been working on for a year, probably I'd say a year longer.
Yeah,
some of the songs have been around for, and it is a long time to not have something out. I mean, I've been working on projects longer, but it's different because this one's more personal, and I just like, pardon me, I want it to be dead on, you know what I mean? I want everything to be, I want to be proud of it. I don't want to have to take it down in a few years because I'm like, oh, it's cringy, you know what I mean? I want to at least look back on it and be like, because there's songs that I have out, and usually they're the ones that like I made and like within a month I've put them out that I'm really proud of, that I would never take down, you know what I mean? That I love with like everything. And I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck if nobody likes this. This is my favorite song, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're winning when your favorite song is your own song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You're like, this is my favorite song and it's me. Like, that's crazy. And that's how that's how I know that it's ready to go out. Like if it's not my favorite shit, like if I'm not listening to it constantly and I'm not so impressed by myself, like I want to view it like I'm listening to like one of my favorite artists. You know what I mean? Like I want to have that reaction from my own music. And if I don't, what's the point of me releasing it? If I don't like it, I'm not going to put it out there. You know what I mean?
Well, if you don't believe in your product, then it's going to be very hard to sell it to other people.
That's very true, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people act, and it's a big acting industry as well. Like people, you know, they're doing songwriting briefs, and they're just filling in the lines that they should be filling in a lot of the time. And I feel like that is really hurtful to the industry in a sense. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong writing briefs and writing music for people. I love writing songs for people. I love working with people to write songs. I have people come and help me write my songs sometimes, but I just think you got to be genuine. You got to love it. It can't be like something like I'm going to put this out because like for any ulterior motive other than you fucking love it and you want people to appreciate the
Absolutely.
art.
No, I think the past is littered with songs that were just like, you know, like I want someone that sounds like this, and we're going to get a clone of this person, and we're just going to do it for the dollars, right?
The clone
and it doesn't last.
Kills me, bro. It fucking kills me. Because I mean, like, it's all about getting into the Spotify playlists and doing this and that.
Yep.
And I listen to these playlists because it's like, how can I write something that's going to appeal to the people that are listening to this and to Spotify, and how can I build my audience? Because in the end, I do want to make this a career, you know what I mean? I don't just want to be putting out music and loving it and then nothing coming of that. Although I will...
20 streams later, yeah.
I will do that forever if that's how it goes, you know what I mean? But, I mean, I want to push myself.
It'd be nice if... Yeah, the recognition from others as well as the personal satisfaction can be really, really nice.
Yeah. And I mean, like, when I first started off, I did struggle a lot with, like, my own sense of validation and, like, feeling like it wasn't good enough and this and that. And my idols and stuff, you know, people I look up to, like, I wonder if they are going to fuck with it. You know, it's hip-hop. It's like, oh, whack. Everything's whack. You know what I mean? You can call anything whack and just brush it off. And it's like, I want these people to respect me. And I feel like I've, like, really built myself up to a point where, I couldn't give a fuck anymore what people think, or even the people I look up to, or I used them to inspire my art. Like, if they don't fuck with it, that's all right. Like, if I fuck with it, that's all that matters. But in saying that, I have worked with a lot of the people that I look up to now, and like made tracks with them and got a good rapport with these people now. So it's like, you know, I'm building that confidence in myself in lots of different avenues, reaching out to people that when I first started making music, I wouldn't have reached out to. And I think that's just because it's been 4 years now, and like I have been doing this every single day. Like I would write all day, every day, and now I produce all day, every day. I write as much as possible. Like I don't want to not do it. It's just something that I always want to be doing. My girlfriend hates me because, sorry, I'm just up so late every night. Like,
oh yeah, getting that midnight all burning. I was saying, like, I've got sort of a similar path to yourself in that I have been studying here since, 2018, 2019, right? And it's sort of funny because, like, it feels like now, and I think there's this concept where once you've done 10,000 hours of something, magic starts to happen, and I'm sort of feeling like, okay, well, maybe after 4 years now, maybe I have racked that up, because all of a sudden, like, not only are you just chasing down collaborations, but people are chasing you down as well, right? Like, and I'm finding that with my own experience. And I think, I was talking to you before the interview as well, and I was like, man, your list of collaborators is getting pretty long.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I love collaborating. It's my favorite form of music making. Like, I think, like, all of my best songs, all my favorite shit, all the stuff that, like, blows me away is, like, when I've been in the room with a group of people and we've all put in to make something, and it's like, wow, this is special, because it feels special in the atmosphere, and like the song reminds me of that feeling of like, we just made this fucking banger. And like I've got so many tracks that I'm waiting to drop that have that, you know what I mean, where it's like it was the magic was there, and it's like, yeah, I just love collaborating. And yeah, people get sick of it. They're like, when are you going to drop something without a feature on it? And I'm like, never. Fuck you.
Why?
Never.
Yeah, why would you need?
Never.
Why would you need to not have a feature? I mean, because you if I'm going to drop some names, I know you've got Valiance on there, you've got O1 Echo, you've got...
That's the latest track, Bleed the Lines, yeah. Right before that, I dropped Eternal with Nelson Dialect, who is one of those artists that I really look up to growing up. Listened to his music since I was 13, you know, and then just last year, I just messaged him. I had a song, I sent it to someone else who I looked up to, and after I sent it, I was like, why did I send this one to him? Because it just didn't work. And then I was like, you know who this was meant to go to? Nelson Dialect, but I was just too scared to fucking send him the message. And then I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And it resonated with him more than it did the secondary artists that so
it was meant to be.
It was, yeah. But yeah, heaps of people, man. Like
Nick from the Daydreamers I saw on your list as well. Yeah.
He's great. We've got more stuff coming as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite verses I've ever written, this song. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
How do you find switching between rapper and producer when you're doing this stuff? I mean, I know that's what lots of guys have to do, but do you find you have to get into a very different headset? Because, I mean, do you sort of go, like, do you ever, when you're rapping, sort of analyse the production and go, oh, I've got to change the volume of that snare, or I've got to, like, change that kick drum sample, and does it totally throw you off?
Yes, it does. I mean, 90% of my music that I've released, I didn't produce the beat for.
Yeah.
So I love producing, and I love producing for other people. I've got heaps of stuff lined up with other people, like other artists, where I've produced the whole thing, mixed it, mastered it, made the instrumental and everything. And that's easy, and I love doing that. But as soon as I've produced it and then I have to try and write something to it, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for me. And that's why I was saying earlier, you know, I build all these instrumentals and then I can't write anything to them. And it was because I was so stuck in that producer hat. Like, I couldn't take the hat off. And it's different, though, when at the moment I'm working on an album with Angus Seraph and Hugo Scrammer.
Yeah.
And we're meeting up in the studios every Thursday, Friday night, and we've just been pumping it out. And it's a lot different when I'm working with other people, because I can put the production together and then I can hear what that production inspired in them, and then I can use that. You know what I mean? So it's not just my feedback. You know what I mean? It's not just feedbacking on myself. I've got other people. Yeah. It always helps.
Levels it out. Yeah. Sort of stops you, you know, chasing down the rabbit warrens, hey?
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. It's not easy. Yeah.
What have you got coming out in the near future? You've got this album working. You've got this album coming out.
Yeah, I'm working on that album. I think it was originally a completely different album, and now it's just it's changing out this song. It's completely different. Nothing is the same except for the singles that I've dropped. So it's just a bunch of art I've made in the past year with more collaborations with people that I look up to, with people that I love making music with, and that deserve to see the light of day. You know what I mean? Like, stuff that I want to be out there. And that's how my projects always go. It's like I work on a wave of stuff, and then I'd level up, and then it's like I need to get rid of this old wave so that I can make room for this new wave. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do, is get out all the stuff I want to get out so I can work on the next thing. Because my mind gets caught in the trap of, like, I'm working on an album. And then I'm stuck in that mindset. I need to, like, free myself from that after a certain point, because otherwise it's just I'm never going to get anything made or done. But in saying that, I always have side projects. Like I said, I'm working on that album with Angus and Seraph. I produced my girlfriend's EP, which she's working on, but that's pretty much finished.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Sarah Says. She's great. That's some of my favourite stuff I've done. Like, I made like a reggae beat on it. I made this crazy jazz beat. Like, just like I was really expanding my horizons when working on that album. Like, how can I make things that aren't hip hop but come back to hip hop? You know what I mean? Like, they've got that hip hop root, but they just are feeding into every other genre. Like, and I've like learnt so much doing that. You know what I mean? And just there's always stuff I'm working on. There's like always 10 different projects at one time. You know what I mean?
Do you find the side projects tend to distract you a little bit? Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to work on this side project, and the album's just going to go that little bit further down the road.
It's definitely a massive. I mean, I forgot to also mention me and Sarah have got a joint album as well. So, like, we've recorded 10 tracks for that. There's 6 tracks on her EP. Me and Scrammer and Angus, we've just recorded about 8 tracks, and my album's got at least 15 tracks on it. So I've got like 50 songs that I haven't haven't seen the light of day. You know what I mean? That
50 children to feed.
Exactly. Yeah. 50 mouths. Yeah. Yeah. What was your question?
Oh, no, the question was, how easy is it to get distracted? Because I'm in a similar thing where I've got these solo projects, and I've got a series of maybe 10 tracks that, have spent some time on SoundCloud and spent some time on my hard drive, right?
Yeah.
And the aim is just to get them all as a package and put them out on Spotify so that I don't have to, be thinking about, this collection of, WAVs on my hard drive going, oh, yeah, I really should share them or finish them off. But then, my project with Emma, Suburbia, that sort of, and it's especially with collaborators too. Like I find that the stuff that I work collaboratively will take preference over my individual stuff, right?
Definitely.
And so it's kind of like, okay, well, this is new and exciting and people are into it. And it's like, this is happening. And then I've got a project with a couple of guys here called Strawberry Lipstick, which is sort of this punk band. And now it's kind of like, oh, yeah. And it's that same feeling you were talking about before, where once it's one thing when you've got a song that slaps and you're sitting there in your room and you're working on it, right? Yeah. But then when you've got a whole bunch of people all sort of vibing on the same project, that's another level. That's a different feeling altogether. Hey,
absolutely. I mean, definitely. Whatever's new and shiny.
Yeah.
Like, you just want it. You want it. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing. And it always is when you're collaborating with other people. It's like you make a song, right? And it's the best song you've ever made in your life.
Yeah.
And then you never show it to anyone. Like, what's the point of that song ever existing? Like, you may as well delete it. Like, because it's cool, but you're not getting anything, like, you're not feeling anything. Like, if I'm to go and then I go show that song to my girlfriend and she loves it, that makes it feel that much more special to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's connecting. It's not just like my thing that I'm not showing you, my dirty little secret. You know what I mean? Like, it's something now. And like, when multiple people are working on something and everyone's got that same feeling about it, this is like my best song ever. It just amplifies. It's like a magnitude of 10 to that, what it can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you let's say you go out and play it live too, and people are like, oh, hey, that's great. Like, it's kind of a better feeling again too. Hey, do you do much live work? Do you?
Occasionally, I like to, but I don't go out of my way to book gigs as often as I used to. When I first met Scrammer, we probably played like 5 or 6 gigs together and had a lot of fun doing it, but it was mainly for friends and family, and it was like medium turnouts, you know what I mean? But if like Winton has hit me up to play a gig soon, and like I love supporting people and I love coming out and doing my stuff, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I just don't, I can't get out there enough to be speaking to people. And like, if someone hits me up, like the last gig I played was a venue, they're like, come play for us. I'm like, sure. But I'm just not in the place right now where I'm going to be reaching out, trying to take up more mental space. Like, I'm focusing so pinpointly right now on just trying to finish everything off, you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard for me to find time to do anything else in this industry. I don't go out and I don't take photos, I don't post on social media, I don't do any of that shit because I'm just so distracted in my own alley right now, you know? I think I just need to pay someone to go book me a bunch of gigs. Like,
hey, well, once that album drops, that'll be a real possibility, hey?
Definitely.
It's something I talk about a lot in that I think any musician these days, especially if they are involved in production too, you have to wear a lot of different hats. Like, not only are you, like, for example, with you're rapping and producing and you're selecting the beats, you're selecting the instrumentals, but then it is a matter of, for example, I'm learning all about promo now. It's all about, okay, I've got to go to Submit Hub and I've got to, make sure that people hear the song once it's done as well. And it's exhausting. I mean, and then once you start adding video editing and that sort of thing on it as well, it is exhausting just switching hats, going, okay, yep, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. And I think it's important to be able to have those periods where you can just focus on that one thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though people are like screaming at you, hey, I need this as well. And it's like, no, I've just got to get this done. Yeah. And then I can walk away from it and, do the other thing.
Yeah. And like I was saying before, I feel like it's a hobby to me right now more than a career. You know what I mean? This isn't it's not a business. You can make a product, but to turn that into a business is something different. You know what I mean?
A brand.
Like, yeah. I'm like, I love making the product, but I'm not selling it to anyone. I'm not going out there. I'm not marketing it. I'm not selling it. Yeah, it's just there. And if you want it, you can listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that will change eventually. That will reach a point where it's like, I will need to start focusing more on the business and the marketing and and like, I'm sure if I just like really knuckle down to it, like any business is hard to handle, like to get off the ground. Like, people think that it's something special to be an artist and it's that much harder, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is much harder than any other industry to build a career out of. You know what I mean? I think it's a lot more creative and a lot more imagination involved and a lot more just abstract thinking involved, but I don't think that necessarily makes it any harder. I think it's the same amount of work that needs to be put in, you know what I mean, to make anything happen. And so like, if I hit the point where I'm like, I really need to do this, I'm going to put in the work. But right now I've tried before and it's just distracted me. I don't like getting caught up in fucking social media, man.
Yeah.
It's like, you start to just think like completely against yourself in ways where it's like I start finding it really difficult to write a song all of a sudden because I've been on social media for an hour and a half. I've been listening to tens of thousands of different artists who all are like pitching themselves in the way to make them look perfect, and everything they're doing is amazing and their life is on point. Like, look at this collaboration I'm doing, look at this video shoot I just did, these gigs I'm playing in, and it's like, I'm just not looking for any of that to bring me down or to feed into my own energy and my own art.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I during the break that we just had between semesters here at Box Hill, right, I was definitely falling into this trap of, you know, just being at home and doing my normal things, and, you know, I'd put something up and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, those numbers aren't as good as I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Why aren't they as good as the last ones? You know, does that mean that, you know, what I'm doing's not as good? Or, but then, as I was talking about before, like, you know, it just takes one person to come up and say, oh, hey, I really liked that thing that you did. And, you know, it might be the thing that's got the worst stats, right?
Yeah.
But when that real person comes up and talks to you about it, you forget everything else. And that's something I learned the hard way, is that the stats on the screen, you know, it's fleeting. It's that sort of dopamine hit rather than the real deal, right?
100%.
Like, it's illusion, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, I mean, I get a couple hundred plays for most of my tracks, you know what I mean? And like, I've had songs in the past where I released this song a couple of years ago. Some dude hit me up and he said, I love the way you write and stuff, and I want you to get on this track. And we made the track. It was called Headspin, and we dropped it, and it got like maybe 20,000 plays or something. And I didn't feel anything.
Yeah,
it was
really?
just dead. Not, like, it was almost worse than getting no plays for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I was like, it was like a reality check. It's like, it's just a fucking number, and it does not matter. If there's 20,000 people in front of me, that's different. You know what I mean? But 20,000 ones and zeros is nothing to me, and it doesn't mean anything. And like, there's no difference between getting one like on a photo and 100 or 1,000, or like, it's just it's a way to measure people's success in their own heads. Is like, I'm better than you, or I'm a better version of myself because I'm getting more plays on this song now. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying, and that's why it's like, people are trying to change themselves and change the way that they make music so that they can be justified in their success, in the way they view success. But that's not what success is to me. So it doesn't play a role into my art. You know what I mean? I think success to me is just the way I view my music. If I really love it, then I know I've succeeded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. If you can be like driving down the highway and you can put the music up full ball, and I know, you know, once the hairs start standing up on my arm during like a track that I'm making while I'm reviewing it in the car, I'm like, oh yeah, this is on the right track.
There's this one song on my girlfriend's EP that I think the first 150 times I listened to it, the hairs on my neck would stand up every single time, and I was like, this shit is my favorite song in the world. And like, we've used that song for a couple of things, like pitching it in places and stuff, and maybe we haven't been reaching the right audiences, but I don't think people have been responding to it the same way that I respond to it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's it's disguised as like an R&B pop track, but it's just really like heavy, like a fucking boulder. Like it's a rock in your heart, you know what I mean? And like, not everyone wants to listen to that kind of shit, you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to like view reality objectively when they're listening to music. They just want to see what they see and fit into their little social circles and Drake on the way to the fucking nightclub and whatever's going to G them up and put them in the mood that they want to feel like, which is fair enough. Everybody wants to feel happy. Everybody wants to feel excited. People don't necessarily like to listen to sad music. And a lot of my early music was like depressing and like and weighed on. And that's a lot of the reason why I started writing in the first place, was like because I had a lot that I wanted to get off my chest, you know what I mean? I had a lot of
therapy.
thoughts. Yeah, absolutely. That I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this shit. Like, and that was my way of dealing with it. And then people listen to it and they're like, either they don't relate to it because they haven't felt like that, or it's like, I don't know, it's cringy to some people because it's like, oh, why would you speak about your feelings? You know what I mean? But like, I feel like society's getting a lot better with that. And like,
totally.
I mean, you see like artists like Mac Miller and Juice WRLD and people who have suffered with massive mental health issues, and people love them, and they release music that they talk directly about what they're dealing with, and then they've passed away from drug overdoses or whatever, and it's like they didn't get the help that they needed in time, and it's like, I just don't think we should be shaming people who talk about their emotions and shit. And like, I just feel like it's there's places for all different kinds of music, and if your music's not connecting with someone, it doesn't mean it's not good, you know what I mean? Like,
it's all highly subjective, isn't it? It's like, everyone's got their own different tastes, everyone, and like, it's funny too, because I remember hearing an interview with Nile Rodgers of Chic, right?
Yep.
And he was saying how his favourite track is by no means the most popular one, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same too. I mean, like, what is popular, is popular, right? But whether it causes the greatest sort of emotional resonance in a particular individual or not, no, like maybe, you got to have this real specific emotional frequency in order to just make people go, boom.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, yeah, you get those tracks sometimes where it just feels like everything is just perfect. Like, it just like the way that guitar hits the vocals and the like I love minor keys because I love the feeling of like dissonance and I feel like that matches more of reality. People don't your whole day could be positive, one negative thing happens and that's all we focus on, you know what I mean? People focus on the negative emotions. They're much more powerful in our minds. They're much more controlling of our thoughts and our actions. And I feel like it's almost therapy to listen to music that's like that taps into these emotions that we experience more often than not, but we rarely talk about, you know what I mean? It's just,
that feeling of not being alone, that feeling of, someone else is there to sort of, what's the old saying? Misery loves company.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I like to be alone. I do a lot alone. I do spend a lot of time by myself. Like, if I leave the house, I've got headphones on. If I come to school, I've mainly got headphones on all day. I don't necessarily communicate with people as much as some people do. As some people love talking to people. I feel like I'm a little bit more introverted. But I still love sharing experiences with people. And, like, music is my way of communicating, I think. It's my way of expressing my psyche. And, like, that's, like, all we really want to do as humans is, like, express ourselves and feel validated in that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just natural for everyone to find their creative outlet or physical or whatever outlet, spiritual, mental. And I just feel like, we should all accept each other for the things that we like, even if we don't fuck with it, you know?
Yeah.
And like, that's not to say that you can't talk shit. Like, as we were talking about before this, I think it's healthy to talk some shit and like to say things you don't mean and to fucking hate on shit. Oh, that was trash.
Have a couple of pints, talk some shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
That's healthy, but you know what I mean? But to that's satire in a sense. Like you don't actually think that, you know what I mean? And
it's in the moment.
Exactly, yeah. And you can not like things as long as you understand where it comes from and what it's about. Like if you're just hating something out of fear, like I don't like this person's music because you think that they're better than you, or like it's always jealousy in some sense. It's some sort of like hole that the person is missing in themselves, and that's why they view something as negative. They don't like it. It's like, why don't you like it? You know what I mean? If you can view to yourself, okay, I don't like this because something's happened in my life that's made me feel like, you know what I mean? So I think it's just about accepting everyone and love and peace and beauty. And
very true. Always choose love over fear, or at least it says that on my weed vape. You know what I mean? We'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for coming on, Isaac.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, where can people find you on the intertubes?
Everywhere, pretty much. Spotify,
Everywhere?
YouTube. Those are the two main ones. Got some videos there.
What have they got to type in to find you?
My name, Isaac, but with a space in the middle, Isaac on Spotify. It's a bit fucking confusing. I need to fix it. People get shit.
It works.
But it works. It's hey, if you want to listen to my music, you got to go look for it. You got to go find it yourself.
It's not for beginners.
Yeah.
Put an underscore in there, just throw off all the boomers. All the boomers.
Yeah, if you're over 50 or 60, like you're not going to be able to find my music.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for being on the show.
Cool.
Have a good one.
You too.